All right. Welcome in. We are recording this on YouTube, which is always visible after the fact and always pre-recorded. So give it a minute or two. See if we get a couple viewers in here. We'll talk about payment labs. All right. Couple minutes in. We go ahead and get started. Kind of a quick overview today. Talking with Todd and Athena and listening to directors. Um, kind of realized that we hadn't done a full session on payment labs. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit. We're going to go through some bullet points on payment labs, kind of where we're at today. And then I want to address some of the concerns with payment labs. And then at the end, I did some screenshots that might just kind of help point out a couple things that we're seeing on our end, might help you with players. Um, what's up, Daryl? How's it going? Always count on Daryl to be right in here with us. All right, so starting out with a quote in my Athena fashion. That quote says, security is not a product, but it's a process. And I feel like that describes this pretty well for us, going to payment labs. Um, security is important, but we have some processes to get through to get us where we want to be. So, first one here. Oh, what's up, Russell? Haven't seen you in a couple weeks. Russell became the payment labs king while we were in Albuquerque. All right, so starting off with why the change and why payment labs. Number one, enhanced security. That's super important to us and super important to anybody that has money in their ACL wallet. Payment labs came with a um, reduced fraud risk, which was huge. We have dealt with fraud in the last couple of years through our wallet. We've had directors deal with fraud, we've had players deal with fraud, and enhancing the security and reducing the fraud risk was really number one for us. Another bright thing with payment labs is they came to us with reliable timing. And I know that obviously early on, right with the launch, there was some timing processing issues, and Payment Labs has done a really good job at nailing those down and getting us onto a reliable timing schedule. It's super important. Transparency, that's huge. The third party company we were using prior to Payment Labs that was called Interchecks. And really, with Interchecks, there was no way to see what's going on with your money. You could look at your wallet transaction history on the player account, but you don't really get any info there. And so the improved transparency with Payment Labs is huge. You can see real time account info on your player app by logging in. The other one, which we won't see for another year from now, is the streamlined tax reporting. Currently, again, we're using Interchecks for the past season, and that relies on everyone to get an email at some point in the month of January. That email, may have come into, your spam box or, not easy to find. And so, streamlining that with logging into Payment Labs, you'll be able to see, your end of year taxes at the end of 2025. And then another big thing for us is customer service. Payment Labs has a strong customer service team. They act quickly and they respond to emails quickly, which is a huge relief for us. In dealing with interchecks, that was all done in house and keeping up with that at times, whether that was through IT or through our Happy Fox tickets. Being able to rely on payment labs with strong customer service team is important. Talk about a couple things that have changed. Well, we have a new vendor, right? That changed. That is Payment Labs. That's a third-party vendor we're using for the wallet. We were using Interchecks as a third party prior to this, and so we've moved to Payment Labs. One thing with Payment Labs is PayPal is discontinued. So, there's a lot of tax compliance and fraud concerns with PayPal. Excuse me. PayPal, is really tough to work with when it comes to fraud. They don't have a good investigating team on the level that we needed, and so PayPal being discontinued is a big change for us. The new payment options that come with Payment Labs, they are, your ACH direct deposit through your bank. We have a debit card option, which you can use your current debit card with your banking account, or you can utilize the digital debit card that Payment Labs will offer for you. So those are the new payout and withdrawal options. The withdrawal timing, that's changed. Right now, this Payment Labs is going to be operating on banking hours. So that's new for us. In the past, interchecks could be pretty quick, whether you're doing that on a Saturday or a Friday night. Um, you know, those processes could happen quicker. Now, with Payment Labs, we are moving to banking hours. So let's say you do a withdrawal on a Saturday evening, that withdrawal is going to be processing all the way till Monday when we jump back into banking hours. So that's something new for us. And we have a fact page that kind of dives into that and explains that. Now, again, that's just on the withdrawal process. That's not on the deposit process. Um, and then what didn't change is if you had money in your wallet, any funds that you had in there, those funds are not affected. So any money that was in there prior to the transition stayed safe. And we'll talk about timing a little bit on deposits. If you're going to use a debit card and a credit card to deposit money into your wallet, typically we're going to expect that to be done in about 1 minute. There's a small processing window there from the time you submit till it hits your ACL wallet. Generally, it's about 1 minute. On the high end, you could see up to 5 minutes, but that's not the expectation. The expectation with Payment Labs is that it's a 1 minute processing time putting money into your wallet. Okay. So let's talk about withdrawals. Transaction timing for withdrawals. And there's been some confusion around this, and I have some screenshots, and we'll talk about some of that later here on the slides. If you were doing a direct deposit, that's really going to have a lot to do with your bank. Some credit unions are quicker, and you can get your direct deposits through a credit union sometimes quicker than you can through maybe a Bank of America or a local bank. Again, those are on banking hours and we processed, Monday through Fridays. And the withdrawals through the debit card or the prepaid debit card typically will take 1 day, again, on banking hours. So, if you did that on a Monday, that would get processed that day, and you should see that in your bank account the following day. So a little bit of change there for us, but transaction timing, we have a fact page that kind of covers that as well. Another thing that's changed is the support and the questions and where do you go with those. Like I mentioned earlier, Payment Labs does provide a customer service for us. And so any type of support that has to do with Payment Labs might have to do with your Payment Labs account or transactions. If you made a transaction, we're going to have those support and questions going through Payment Labs directly. They will reply to you based on those type of issues. Now, if you have an issue with, your ACL account, that's where you're going to come to the ACL support and submit a ticket like we've done in the past. So we've really kind of separated those into two different lanes. Something that deals directly with payment issues, Payment Labs, or your Payment Labs account, versus something that deals with your ACL account. So really two lanes now for support, and that should help the ACL side respond to those quicker. And we know that Payment Labs has a really solid team, and they respond pretty quickly to those emails as well. And then addressing some of the concerns that we've been hearing, um, whether that's through the Facebook directors page, whether that's through tickets that have come in, or direct messages that might get through Facebook or email. Okay. The first concern that kind of popped up a lot in the last couple of weeks is players are concerned about giving their social security number and concerned about filling out that tax information. And so I wanted to kind of talk about that. I think that players have forgotten, and maybe because it was done for years, that our previous third party company, Interchecks, also required social security number and tax purposes. So there's no change there. And so if players are feeling worried about that, we can reassure them that there is no change in our process with that. Just like any type of money transaction app or software you're going to use, there is, tax implications on that. And we're no different than that. Interchecks in the past was no different from that. So just kind of reassuring the players that putting your employee or your company tax ID or your social security number is still the norm, and that was the norm for us over the last few years. Another concern I saw popping up is players are not seeing the free options. Our ACL membership level offers free deposit withdrawals, and players aren't seeing that. And so we've added some verbiage to that. I screenshot some of those, and I'll share that with you on another slide. But we do have free options. Doing a deposit is free, and there are the banking withdrawal options, which are still going to be free. So it's kind of covering that. Um, Another concern with withdrawals that we've been seeing is the timing, and there's been some communications through Payment Labs that I just wanted to clarify. Saw some as recent as today and over the last couple of weeks. So with withdrawals, you know, we are processing those in batches periodically throughout Monday through Friday. So let's say you put a withdrawal request in on a Monday morning, that would get processed within a batch of withdrawals that day. And then Payment Labs will do their processing on their end. Now, I saw some emails coming from Payment Labs where they're saying if you want to know about the timing of your withdrawal, please reach out to the ACL. And I wanted to kind of dispel that a little bit. There is no need to contact the ACL to find out that timing because those are running in batches, so they will be processed. And so we're working with Payment Labs to kind of clarify the wording on that. Again, if you do like a Monday morning, that's going to be processed in a batch sometime on Monday. And so Payment Labs might say, hey, reach out to the ACL and find out when they're processing that. But just know that you can assure your players that we are doing that throughout every day, Monday through Friday. So really no need to ask when that's going to happen. It will happen periodically each one of those days. And again, we are working with Payment Labs to kind of clarify that email and the verbiage there, make it less confusing. Another concern, this one, we are working with them actively. It's going to take some time, I think, to clear this one up. But this concern is if you make a deposit before you ever make a withdrawal, and let's say you use a credit card to make that deposit. Now, Payment Labs is going to set that as that player's default method, and that's been confusing through the first couple of weeks. So you don't want that default method of a credit card to work for when you do a withdrawal because you can't withdraw to a credit card. So we're currently working with Payment Labs to simplify that, and I recognize that has not been very intuitive to get started. And talking about some of the improvements, so we've been seeing or heard from some users that the security code email has some delays. I know that some of our directors have been saying that and players as well. And we're seeing, on the other hand, a large number of success with that happening within seconds. So we're trying to investigate with Payment Labs Um, what might be holding that up? Is that the type of email inbox the player or director is using? Is it Gmail versus Yahoo versus AOL? And so, Payment Labs is looking into that for us. So please know that there'll be some improvements there, but from what we're seeing, it's right now a very, very small percent. Like I just mentioned, the next one, the credit card deposit clarity. We just want to clarify you're using a credit card to deposit money. We don't want to make that a default method. So working with them to simplify that. And then, like I mentioned, clarification on withdrawals. Payment Labs is advising you to reach out to the ACL. We want to assure our players that they don't actually need to do that. And we're working with Payment Labs to clarify that verbiage. And the biggest one, I think, to start the first couple weeks of deposits is the expiration date format. I think this has been the biggest one for players causing issue, um, myself included. When I look at my debit card or my credit card and I look for the expiration date, right, it's in a format of month, year, year. I put that in everywhere I go, whether I'm going, anywhere that's asking for my credit card, right? If it's on eBay or anywhere, that's what I'm used to. Now, what's caused confusion is that Payment Labs specifically is asking for month, year as the format, which is quite confusing because my debit card does not show it in that format. So if I'm not reading that field or moving through too quickly, I'm not going to catch that. So we've already asked Payment Labs to adjust that, and they are looking at making that change for us on the widget. So that improvement should be here shortly. All right, a couple screenshots I want to touch on. When players go to the wallet, and this is the first thing they're going to see. A couple things to point out to players here. The payment profile is the first thing we're looking at. There is a fact page which is linked right there. Okay, I put an arrow right to it. So a lot of the questions that are being asked, a lot of these struggles, whether it's about deposit versus withdraw, length of time, what are my options? These are all found right here on the fact page. You want to learn how to reach out to Payment Labs? It's right here on the fact page. So this is on top of every player's player app. So I just want to kind of point that out as a director and players are having issues. We can quickly point them right through to that fact page, and it gives them a lot of good info. And we're going to continue to update that page with anything that we learn. And then the other one, which I thought was important to point out, this is again on the main page here, talks about withdraw. So, you do not need to log in for deposits, but you can log in to see your withdraw history and begin the process. So, kind of twofold there. If you just want to make a deposit, you don't need to log into Payment Labs. You can make that deposit as a guest. And so I just want to highlight that that is right there on the front page of every player's wallet widget right there. So that one's another we could point to pretty quickly. Next screenshot I took here earlier today. Now, this wasn't me making a deposit today, and this was, of course, in step two. Now, the first step was just getting my verification code through text message, and entering, that I wanted to make a deposit. So going into step two, I just wanted to point out that down here at the bottom, you can do a checkout as guest, and this will allow you to deposit money from a debit card or a credit card without being logged in. So it's a quick way to do it. Players are in a hurry, they're at your director's table, or they want to get logged in, or they want to get a deposit in, prior to your event registration closing. Getting money to the wallet, they do checkout as guest. That's going to be a best practice for getting that done quicker. Okay, another screenshot I took here. Just wanted to highlight, that field for the expiration date does currently show that format. Now, myself, again, like I said, I'm moving through here quick, and I'm not going to see that, right? I'm going to put my format from my debit card, month, year. I just want to point out that it is actually asking for 4 on the year, and we can help players rectify that problem. All right, it might be the last one. What did I get? Oh, I got one more. Yep. So I want to point out also we added this text to the withdraw page. So if you do click on withdraw money up here, you can see the direct deposit. It does show a fee of $1.50. Now that fee is from Payment Labs, but the ACL is covering that fee for you. And so we wanted to add the text in this black box here. Platinum and Diamond members, there is no fee for a direct deposit on your withdrawal. That fee is credited to your ACL wallet at the time of transaction. So if you look at your wallet history, you'll see that $1.50 going back and forth. So there is, no fee. I think that players again aren't reading that quickly enough. They're seeing the $1.50 fee and they're saying, "Hey, hold on, what's going on? I'm a platinum member. I should be getting this for free." I just want to clarify that that is actually free, and that's covered. So we can point that out to them as well. Right there when they click on withdraw money, sometimes we just want to help them kind of see that and alleviate some of their stress. And I know I flew through a bunch of these here. Um, I wanted to take some time. I have a notepad open here on the other screen of my computer. So I want to take some time and I want to note any additional issues that you might be seeing. I will take notes of those right now. Anybody that's watching this on record can, certainly email me, and we will get any other issues that we're seeing or that I did not cover today, and get you guys some answers for, and get them into our fact page. Um, so if anybody has a comment they want to throw out there, frustration that's happening with players that maybe I didn't cover already, um, please shoot that in the comments. If I skimmed through anything too quickly and you want me to back up and look at any of that, you can also let me know, and I can scroll back a few screens and cover anything again. It was about 20 minutes of straight talking, so feel free to jump in there with any questions. Anything you guys are seeing on the player side. Obviously I've heard of, a lot of the frustrations both from directors and players. And so I just want to help get that type of stuff onto the fact page and alleviate any stress, from this transition. All right, Daryl asks, is there any way to get the deposit code sent to text instead of email? I will note that right now because I don't know the answer for sure. The ACL codes come through text, and so yeah, I'd like to get that in front of Payment Labs and see what they say, because I agree. Logging out of that screen, going over to your email, getting into your email, especially, if you're not up on your emails, maybe you have a couple hundred unread, or, finding that email might be tough. So I think getting a text message certainly would be the best way to go. So I'm noting that now. All right. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. All right. Nothing else coming through. That's totally fine, you guys. If you want to reach out privately, email me. Um, you can try to Facebook message me, but that one's kind of been it's a mess, to be honest. I think I probably have 60 or so unread right now, and I get 30 a day. So keeping up with that, is not as clean as my email. I'm the type of person that always up on my emails as best as possible. I like to open my email box and not have any unread. Um, but I don't mind opening my Facebook Messenger. I have a bunch of unread. That one doesn't bother me. So always email me. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and we'll end the stream. Thanks guys for jumping in. I had a decent number of people watching live. Um, and I'm glad that, getting on here, being able to talk about payment labs now, get some resolutions, and then we'll come back and do another one of these when we have, a little more streamlined process and try to identify any other frustrations that might be floating out there around the wallet. So alleviating that is important. I don't want money. I don't want the wallet to be a frustration point for people. And so, um, the goal is to alleviate all those for you as directors. That way you can help take the stress off your players. All right. Thanks, Russ and Daryl and everybody else watching. And see you guys soon.